Okay.
So here we are with Rose Reisman, one of our favorite authors. And my personally favorite author, but certainly, and this is your latest book, Family Favorites. Now, you said this is number 18 and counting.
Yeah, and I forget, I just came back from a West Coast tour, and I was going 16th, 17th, and it's 18th.
It's unbelievable. And I think I've got all 18 of them.
Oh my God.
And I think I love using them. Now, but when you first started, you were doing recipes from other chefs and restaurateurs, and now you...
And then ultimately I realized I didn't love working with other chefs' recipes because they tended to use tons of fat, they deep fry, and I realized my own style became healthier, and that was, health issues in my own life of high cholesterol and family having diabetes and heart disease, and I changed my ways around, Alice, in 1993. And there's been no turning back. And
but now you find, I mean, we've got this wonderful selection of food here today from the books. How do you find, though, with now you've got the restaurants, now you've gone into that, you've got catering, you've got the restaurant. So how do you find adapting, though? It's great to make it for 4 to 6 servings.
Right.
How do you find developing that sort of stuff for larger
Well, what's
groups?
fantastic is that's when you have a great chef. So, so fortunately, let's say Glow, our restaurant, or even all the pickle barrels I work with, what we do is I give them the original recipe because I say, I am not a restaurant chef.
Right.
Here's a recipe that, 5 to 6, 8 people.
Right.
Let's adapt it. We have a tasting, and then they've adjusted it, and they're unbelievable.
You give them sort of ideas of, I mean, obviously they're sourcing their products too in a manner that's going to make sure these are low fat. And that sort
absolutely.
Because nobody really says low fat anymore.
No,
remember that was huge in the 80s and early 90s.
Huge, and that's what everybody wanted to hear. And now the word's almost eliminated from like our menus or our catering. I have a food delivery system where we just call it clean, fresh, healthy cuisine. And that's all people, and I just say to people, this is the way to eat. This is the only way to eat.
And do you find now the availability of interesting ingredients? I mean, we've got Israeli couscous here, for example, and we've got quinoa now, and different kinds of quinoa.
And years ago, even in a great city like Toronto, you couldn't find Israeli couscous unless you went to a Middle Eastern store or you ordered it online. Now every supermarket's got Israeli couscous. And what's beautiful about our country with so many different ethnic tastes and flavors, you can get everything in your supermarkets.
So do you find over 22 years though, like of doing this, that it has changed, like people's attitudes towards eating and that sort of thing, from your own level, but also the restaurant point of view?
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot more variety. We're open to a lot more flavors. I think what I'd like to see by Rose Reisman's Family Favorites is really getting people back to cooking. Alison, and I know having raised 4 children, it's a lot easier to run out the door, order in fast processed foods, but honestly, that stuff's killing our kids.
And you're a proponent of cooking as a life skill, aren't you?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you've got
and you have people like Jamie Oliver, saying, "Oh no, let's get the schools. They're to blame." It's not. It's us as parents. We have to take ownership. We have to take ownership. We are the role models for our kids.
So what do you think, what will happen? I mean, I know you're still going to be writing Cook, but we're going to be here in 22 years doing this. I know we are. What do you think, though? What are the buzz things that you see coming along that you're interested in? And what are people asking for in the restaurants, too?
They're asking for this kind of cuisine.
Good.
So what they're finding is, we still have a backlash in the States. You've seen with Kentucky Fried Chicken and the sandwich of no bun but 2 deep fried chicken breasts with chicken and bacon and cheese in between. I think people are looking for cleaner fare. I think we've got right now the obesity epidemic, type 2 diabetes, increased cancer rates. We're seeing processed foods, all the sodium, the preservatives put into our food. It's back to the basics. It's back to coming home and taking time, 15 minutes. I mean, I don't expect anyone to spend their day cooking. I think that's a waste of energy unless you love it. But just to get 1 or 2 items
and keep them in your repertoire.
And get the kids to sit
How do you
down.
find price point, though? I mean, we had a slight discussion about this before we started on camera, saying, everybody's all buzzwords about organic and local, but that can be a little bit more expensive, and especially in light of the fact people with price issues.
I could have one too.
But we'll continue.
We're filming.
Sam, come on in. That's all right. Come on in. We're just on the camera.
So
Sam
here he goes, and my husband always just steps
here
right
we are,
in.
right into the middle of it.
And he's on video, not knowing.
I just was at Terry's for lunch. I would have come here.
No, you should never go somewhere else for lunch. Always come here. Now, when you first came, though, remember you used to come about this point in the signing.
Exactly.
And you said, and you had the 4 kids in tow.
I did, always.
And now there's no kids in tow.
No,
they have us in tow.
You've fed them off, and that's terrific.
Yeah.
So we're just discussing food over 22 years, price point of local. We're discussing that. You can now go off camera, Sam.
Thank you. That was great.
But what do you think? Do you think it's going to be more accessible, especially with people these days who are
in terms of local and all of that? Well, we are being pushed. I mean, I know as a caterer, we're now being told that if we serve any food fish that's not sustainable, they won't use us as a caterer. So that's really. I mean,
so they're coming to you with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're being asked also to provide green in terms of our cutlery and our plates.
Right.
And we're saying we're happy to, but it's
a cost.
That's a cost.
Yeah,
and
it's a cost.
Then all of a sudden, when people hear that, they're not so prepared. So I question whether that is going to be more of a fad.
Right. It's not a great business model from your point of view, and it's tough to cater to that.
It's very hard. And let's say local. You know, we're so, as we were saying before this, we're hearing sustainable, local, natural, organic. So much today. I think local supporting our farmers is great, but keep in mind, local doesn't mean healthy. Local doesn't mean
and organic doesn't always mean healthy either.
You got to know where it's coming from, because there is certified organic, but that's what you have to look for.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things happening in the marketplace. My whole philosophy is bring it down to something simple. Yeah. Here's a great Chinese fried rice with edamame and shrimp. That's not like the fried rice you're going to eat in Chinese.
And edamame, though, people say, "Oh, what's edamame?"
Oh,
it's in your grocery store. It's in your local grocery store.
Frozen little edamame shell.
And it's terrific. You got me onto that about 12 years ago. It was terrific. Yeah,
it's fantastic.
You just have to make the effort, I think.
Right, and I substitute these for green peas, and green peas are still great, but there's more nutrients and fiber and protein to edamame.
And I can say, without a doubt, your desserts, though, are the best. They are the most practical, healthy desserts I've seen in all these other books that do things. I still think yours. Well, my biggest taste testers are my kids, and they love them. The dessert section's all glued together in your books. So, and this one's going to be glued together soon too.
And again, Alison, it's never with me. There's no good foods, bad foods.
No.
What I say is dessert is part of it, but if you can make it a little lighter, do it. And all my desserts are lesser in calories, fat, and cholesterol.
Well, we look forward to cooking our way through this, and of course, book number 19 at some point.
Oh my God!
Thank you, Rose.
Thanks, Alison.
Thanks.
Take care.